Welcome to Nerd Positive. This is the Facebook and YouTube Live podcast show that celebrates all the things we feel are awesome and hopes of spreading our fandom to you. After the live show airs, you can find the show on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you find audio podcasts a little bit later. In the show, we dive deep into the hearts of fandoms and celebrate the things we love. From sci-fi to fantasy, movies to TV shows, comics to video games, we explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we'll take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Expect passionate discussion, in-depth analyses, things under the bed, and many, many side quests. So whether you're a die-hard enthusiast or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, the Fandemic is the place to be. I'm the host, the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, Bradley Buchanan. With me every week I have unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, the unverified twin of Carl Weathers in the mustache.
The flavor saver.
Never gets old, my friend. And the unverified twin of Shamar Moore in the nipples.
Which also never get old.
You got that right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian S. Dennis. Well, this week the S stands for Joel. And you will talk about that as we go forward.
Yes, we will. Actually, Brian, go ahead and introduce what we're talking about today, and then we'll talk about our favorites.
All right. Well, we're going to unpack quite a few things. We've been off for a couple of weeks. So primarily what we're going to do is talk about the best and worst video game adaptations. We're seeing this is a thing in Hollywood the past few years. It's been going on since probably the mid to early 90s. Some good, some bad. We're going to tell you our choices, and we love to hear yours. So, my friend, let's talk about what are our best and worst, sir. Why don't you kick it off for us?
All right, before we do that, let's talk about our favorites of the week. And
all right,
I got to bring out some. I got some lunch break reviews that I put up in the last week. I got Alien Romulus. It Ends With Us, Borderlands, and Trap are all episodes out. Check out lunch break reviews. Brian, my favorite TV show. I got two of them I want to talk about.
Really? Okay. I think one of them we may have in common. Let's do it.
Big Brother.
Okay.
And Batman the Caped Crusader. Dude, this makes me happy. Like, Batman the Caped Crusader.
How did this go under the radar so much? Like, dude, it was just there, and it's like, oh my God. This truthfully in that same vein as X-Men 97, it picked up where Batman the animated series, obviously it takes place earlier in Batman's history. And by the way, I'm just going to get out of the way. Folks online that are trolling, that are complaining about some of the revisioning and reimagining of the characters, namely Commissioner Gordon and Barbara Gordon being African-American, stop. Go watch something else. This isn't the place for you. But it's fan-flipping-tastic. And the arc was so great. But you tell what you thought. But obviously, we're right in line with Batman the Caped Crusader.
So is this a separate thing from the animated series, or is this an actual prequel to the animated series?
I think just with some of the creative direction they did, like we said, they reimagined some of the characters. They made Alfred kind of chubby, which I kind of dug. I see this actually as a separate series.
Okay,
by the fact that we even saw they did a great job of showing their origins of characters, namely Harley. Again, spoiler alerts, but origins of characters like Harley Quinn and Two-Face. And in the animated series from the 90s when we were kids, they actually also had an origin story of Two-Face. So I hear this as totally different. But again, it was done fantastic. Had a lot of very similar voice talent. It was just done incredibly well.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I've watched it like 3 or 4 times. It's just phenomenal. And we've had several discussions about how Batman fits in this era. Absolutely. More than anything else. Our age right now should be Batman Beyond.
Yes.
Batman Batman should be in the 1940s, 1950s. Love it, love it. And dude, I'm sorry, episode 3, the Catwoman origin story, is
Uh,
is probably one of the best animated episodes
it's tremendous.
ever.
Uh, the Nocturne one that they did, or I think it was like 2 episodes after that. And I have always just really dug Clayface and felt it was Clayface as a character that I think within the Batman pantheon doesn't get as much credit. Is one of Batman's lesser. His Rose Gallery is so tremendous. I mean, being mid-range in the Batman Rose Gallery would make you in the main event against most other heroes. But I've always really liked Clayface though, and I love the way the way they reimagined that Clayface origin, and they did it really, and they brought in the detective aspects.
Yeah.
Of this. Yes, he's Batman. Yes, he's got all the tech, and yes, he fights people with powers. However, they really, the way that they did the episodes, he wasn't Batman that could just solve a case by snapping his fingers. They made him work for it. They made him vulnerable. And again, the Clayface episode, which I think was my personal favorite, the way that they really kept you guessing throughout it. I remember going, okay, this is Clayface. Well, maybe it's not Clayface. It's Clayface. But I saw what they did there. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
So, my very first comic book that I ever got was a Detective Comics Batman against Clayface.
Nice.
I can't remember. I have it. I saw it in a dollar bin, like a couple of years ago. And no, it was at a silent auction. It was at a silent auction.
Okay.
At the comic book store that I go to, Rodman Comics. It was just a random Batman issue, and I saw it there, and I'm like, Rod, I get this. No matter what, no matter what the price is,
yes,
like you get me that. Like I go over it. I go over it. Like, he's like, all right. He's like, it was. I have a lot. I'm a huge comic book fan.
Sure.
And in this Clayface means a lot to me. He's one of the better Batman villains, and you're right. It did the villains well. I know there was a lot of hate about the whole Penguin thing. It made sense.
It did.
Who cares? Same thing with Gordon and Barbara. Again, guys, this is 2024. Like, grow the fuck up.
And understand that the whole reason why so many of the characters, when you look at Batman and Superman, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, that yes, now these are treasured stories and they're traditional and they're historical. But the whole reason why you had little to no significant female characters, you had little to no significant characters of color, you had no representation based on gender identity and sexual orientation, because those things were taboo. Those were people that literally in society did not have a voice, so therefore they did not have a place in comics because they were written by people who didn't have that perspective. So yes, when you see things coming out now, same thing with Game of Thrones, same thing with House of the Dragon, same thing with Lord of the Rings, right? There we get to include these in these stories right now. And by the way, my very first comic that I bought myself, I had comics, but the first comic I ever quote unquote bought for myself, it was my 3rd grade. And again, gonna play the old man card. You remember back when and they still think they do them, but they're not as popular. But one of the things that whenever you had like a school conference, what they would do, they had like a book fair. And I went to the book fair where my mom was talking to my teachers. And as I was strolling through, I think it was like 78 cents. It was less than $1. And it was Firestorm, and it had the origin of Firehawk. And I remember grabbing that comic book just cause I remember I can see it like it was yesterday. I can see just the cover of Firestorm and Firehawk in the air with Killer Frost on the ground. And I was just mesmerized. And to this day, very similar to your Clayface love, Firestorm and Firehawk have so much just endearment to me, which is the whole reason why I stuck with DC's Legend of Tomorrow, just because of Firestorm. I have always had such an immense love of Firestorm. So DC, if you're listening, it's primarily James Gunn, if you're listening, and we know you are. you got to give me a Firestorm. You got to give me a Firestorm movie. That's what I need. That's what I want. And I already know I'm going to cast it for you real quick. So, the two actors to play Firestorm, and if you don't know Firestorm, Firestorm is a very unique character in the comic book world, in that he is composed of two different people who, when they use their powers, they become Firestorm. So, my 2 cents are Martin Stein. I see he'd be played by our boy Liam Neeson, and then the Ronald Raymond character, the young kind of cocky character, and I'm gonna blank on his name, but I would really like to see oh wow, why am I blanking on his name? The guy from Twisters.
Glenn Powell?
Yes, Glenn Powell. I want to be Ronald Raymond.
Okay.
He's a little older, but that's it. So go ahead, sir. Give it to me.
I say Giancarlo Esposito at Steinmo. I mean, dude, just because you can just make him anything.
We have him being Professor X. we have him being Martin Stein as half a Firestorm.
We do.
I think we have fan cast him
in everything.
And you know what? If Robert Downey Jr. can be both Iron Man and Doctor Doom, I think Giancarlo Esposito can be anybody and everything. Yeah. Yes. At this point, he should just be the DCU. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the MCU. Make Giancarlo the DCCU, I guess what it's going to be called. And just have them play similar to Eddie Murphy in like The Nutty Professor. Just have them play like 7 characters of movie. And they'll probably win an Oscar. All right.
Probably. Awesome.
Let's get to it.
Comics, man. I've been reading a bunch of comics lately. Trying to figure out how I want to promote those with lunch break reviews and TikTok. But DC released a new thing called DC World War V. It's the next line from Deceased. I don't know if you follow the Deceased line anyway.
No, not really.
It's a vampires take over the world type thing.
Okay.
But dude, it starts off, what sold me on it was the first panel is our 2 favorite Green Lanterns coming back to Earth, John Stewart and Kyle Rayner.
Yes, sir.
That is all I need. Okay, granted, they killed Kyle Rayner like 2 panels later. I was saddened a little bit about that. But the second I opened it up and I saw John Stewart and Kyle Rayner, I was like, oh, God, I have to talk to Brian about this. I really do. You know how to make it nerd positive when you start off with our 2 favorite Green Lanterns.
Absolutely.
And I've been reading that. Absolute Power. I don't know if you know what Absolute Power is. Absolute Power is fantastic. They just released the second issue, but they have a 0 issue, a 1 and a 2 now, and then a whole bunch of tie-ins. The Batman tie-in is fantastic. I don't want to review it for you, but it's super great. And then the Dark Knights of Steel, man. Have you read it yet?
I'm about halfway through. Dude,
so good, man. I think it might be one of my favorite Elseworlds.
Very cool.
Very cool. And then movie, dude, Borderlands was
you threw me a text going, dude, just don't even even do it.
We'll talk about that probably in one of my lists.
My guess is when I was discussing this, and again, Brad and I don't compare lists, we just kind of give an idea and we work on it. I was like, I bet you, based on the text you sent, I bet you Borderlands is going to make one of those lists.
Yes,
absolutely.
But Alien Romulus, that was fantastic. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the last 30 minutes of it.
Okay,
but other than that, it was a near perfect freaking movie.
So within the Alien universe, Alien is a classic. Aliens, it depends on my mood. I love Prometheus. What are your thoughts on like Covenant? Like, what are your thoughts on some of the prequels to Alien? Like, what do those fit with you within like the overarching Alien universe?
You know, I don't really have one because I've only ever watched Alien once. I've watched Aliens a few times. Out of all of them, I've watched Prometheus more than anything else.
Prometheus is fantastic.
I love it.
Prometheus is absolutely fantastic.
Right. I don't know why people hated on it so much, but I really enjoyed it.
I think people didn't, and I don't know if it was Ridley Scott that didn't do a good. Not that he's in charge of all the marketing, but I had people that went and saw it before I did that literally said they had no idea of the tie-in to Alien, and I'm like, I thought that was kind of the thing,
Right. I mean,
but
like,
people were, and so there's that. I think the big part of it was so much of Alien and Aliens
mhm.
with the xenomorph, and they held the xenomorph to the end, as you should,
Yeah.
by the way. But there definitely were, folks that didn't dig it. And for me, Alien has always grown as because understand this movie came out I think it was 79.
Mhm.
The movie came out at the very end of the 70s before anything really, a lot of the things that we see now in horror, in sci-fi horror that are really common really got kicked off with Alien. Same deal we talk about buddy movies. Things
Yeah.
that are you seeing in buddy movies that didn't exist before 48 hours.
Mhm.
So you got to give it to the OG. And as much as we both love Spaceballs, just I watch Alien. Spaceballs made me like Alien that much more.
Oh,
Just because
100%.
of the John Hurt
Yeah.
connection, and I absolutely love that. And come on now, it's Sigourney Weaver. Just
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I in my head, I was gonna marry a woman named Ripley for a long time. So yeah. All right. So with that, let me give you my best stuff, which is gonna be kind
Do
of a
it.
short list. Summer is my biggest teaching semester, so I haven't had as much free time. So I really been sticking to the television. So I don't know. Number one, without a doubt, my favorite show has been Batman Crusader. I can't add anything more than what you said. Bradley, have you caught up with the fourth and final season though of Umbrella Academy?
I haven't.
It's okay.
So,
It's okay.
and I have a reason why is because I got into The Equalizer, the
Mm-hmm.
show. Now, the first season is kind of rough.
Meaning Equalizer or Umbrella
Yeah.
Academy?
No, Equalizer. Like it
Yep.
took me at least half of season one to just try to to
100%.
disassociate.
100%.
Yeah, it's like I mean, Denzel is the Equalizer, so it took me a while to buy in to Queen Latifah.
Yep.
I love Queen Latifah, and she hasn't freaking rapped yet in the show. I'm waiting for it.
And remember, she is all about the UNITY. But go ahead.
Yes, yes, and then I haven't had that's Leia. I can watch that with Leia around, and
Sure,
so
sure,
it's
sure.
okay. It's not great. It's just okay. Leia, you want to say
It
hi?
does get better. It does get better.
You're podcasting with someone else.
Oh no, well, Patrick, it's Sunday night, bro. We podcast Brian on Sunday nights. Hey, do you want to talk?
Sure.
Yeah, I had to do a couple podcasts
Sure.
without my tag team partner, and she was kind of feeling that she couldn't come in and say hi.
Hey, how are you, Princess?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Oh.
Yeah, that's not bonk your poor dad in the head. All right. Are you excited for school starting soon?
No.
That's fair and honest. That is fair and honest.
Without...
One more week though. Yes.
Yes, 5 days till you start school. I'm not counting down.
Yes, you are. Wow, you want to be away from me? Wow.
He's not gonna answer that. Who would ever want to be away from you, Princess Leia? Come on now.
Apparently him.
Well,
and then he gets annoyed by me because I
win
all the games.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. All
right.
right.
I win all the games.
Well, we're gonna start
our games. Do you win?
Yeah. What?
Oh no, Marcy. I win like 80% of the time, and then he says he always wins.
I believe you.
I also cleaned out my my bag just now, throwing away stuff that I didn't need, throwing away all my old folders.
Okay. Tell Brian we'll see you later. Tell Brian
about a hairy back.
Thanks. All right. Tell Brian bye.
Bye. I'm gonna go make some popcorn.
How about my princess?
That was my hair.
All right. Yes.
It's good to know you got a hairy back, bro. Good to know you got a hairy back. That is now in the podcasting universe for all time.
That is right. It's
and just remember, Bradley, it's not that you're going bald. It's your hair that's moving from your head to your back. That's all it is.
I needed something to have my back, when my tag team partner around.
Absolutely. And you know what? If we ever get, a horrible blizzard, you're probably good to go, man.
Hey, that's right.
And let's not forget, who else has a hairy back in the comics? Wolverine.
Hey, bub. Oh, yes, it's true. It is true.
Beast. There are lots of people with hairy backs.
Yes.
There you go. So it's not.
Hair is my mutant power.
I was gonna go there, but you beat me to it, bro. All right, man.
Oh man. All right. What else do you got for your favorites?
Just from Umbrella Academy season 4. I'm still unpacking it. I definitely have some mixed feelings on it. It was not as good as it could have been. It should have been, by the way, seasons 1, 2, and 3 are 10 episodes. Season 4 is only 6. And it definitely struggled because it gave us some really good, it said some great things at the start of it. I liked how the story arcs it did with the characters. But because we lost 4 episodes, it felt like they kind of rushed to tie things together. And one of the more common things online is that while the ending makes sense in one stance, because those 4 episodes you didn't get a chance to like make it as impactful as it should have been, because again, we only have 10 episodes. We lose almost half your episodes by going only 6. There's some things there, but overall, RIP to Umbrella Academy. We did get a couple things revisited. There were some plot holes, but there's an everything. But absolutely, Kate Crusader is fantastic. All right.
Yes.
So before we get to our best and worst of video games, we're going to do a quick recap of SummerSlam. So, Bradley and I are both big fans of World Wrestling Entertainment, the world of professional wrestling. So before we missed the last couple of weeks, we gave our predictions of SummerSlam. I'm going to run through our results. And Bradley, this should not be a shock to you as we were talking about it through the actual live broadcast. Anyone that follows us with Comes to Wrestling, we have proven that we also could run the MCU, the DCCU, and professional wrestling, as we were spot on with our predictions. So here we go. First off, we started with the World Heavyweight Championship, which is the title defending on Raw. Damian Priest versus Gunther. In fact, I'm going to give them to you in the order that I think they happen actually on the pay-per-view. So instead of starting there, I'm going to start off with the WWE Women's World Title match, which was Liv Morgan defending against Rhea Ripley. We both predicted that Rhea Ripley would lose, that Liv Morgan would retain, and that we would see some type of shenanigan from Dirty Dominic Mysterio. That is exactly what we got, in that he turned on Rhea and helped Liv Morgan retain. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen them floating around the internet of when there is a world title match, instead of the competitors being introduced on the way to the ring, but as in every other match, in the world title matches, they wait until both competitors are in the ring. They announce a more boxing style when they introduce the challenger and the champion. So in this example, which is kind of taken on the internet a little bit back the week that SummerSlam happened, there's a picture of Liv Morgan, Samantha Irvin, who's the ring announcer, and Rhea Ripley standing side by side in a rear view shot of those two ladies.
Yeah.
And the most common thing that came about this was whoever that camera person is, they should get a raise. So they totally understood the assignment.
I mean, you can just hear Sir Mix-a-Lot just playing around there, and we were
absolutely
for it. I mean, like I probably looked at that a few times.
So again, Ricochet, you're a very lucky man. You are a very lucky man. All right.
Yeah.
And he will now be in the same organization with Rhea Ripley's husband. So we shall see how AEW goes. All right. With that being said, next up, I may be going a little bit out of order, but I believe the next match was Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. Again, we both predicted that Breaker would win. He did. He made quick work, relatively speaking, of Sami Zayn. Braun Breaker, new Intercontinental Champion. It was cool that the Steiners, his Steiner brother, his father and uncle, were in attendance to see Braun win his first title on the main roster. We then have the United States Championship match. Our boy LA Knight, challenging Logan Paul. Now, this is one of the only 2 matches in which we disagreed. This one, I had LA Knight winning. You had Logan Paul winning. LA Knight, the new United States champion. Absolute. From there, we then had the WWE women's title match, which is Nia Jax challenging Bayley. Jax defeats Bayley. We both called it that way. We have the the World Heavyweight Championship match, which also features members of the Judgment Day. So Damian Priest defending against Gunther. Priest also lost that match thanks to interference from Finn Balor. So, as the tagline they said about SummerSlam of 2024, we saw the implosion of the Judgment Day. And I love Michael Cole saying, as we know it, we found out since then the new Judgment Day, which appears to be led by Finn Balor, or again, doesn't have any leader. He's the most vocal member. We have Finn Balor, JD McDonough, our boy Dirty Dom Mysterio, along with his new girl, Liv Morgan, and Carlito as the new Judgment Day. Probably not going to be the main event faction that they were when Rhea and DP were a part of it, but still going to be that great middle card, smarmy thing. And I think it's a good thing because Rhea and Damian Priest, both, especially Rhea, were getting cheered. We remember of a heel faction. You got to do something. And both are set to have much better runs now away from the Judgment Day. All right.
Yeah.
Last two matches. The match that most people I think were looking forward to most, which was CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Again, we were both right on there. Punk lost to McIntyre, which he needed to do.
Yeah,
to further the storyline, and it was a very well done match. It was Punk's first singles match in a very long time due to injury, and he was in great shape. The match went really well, and of course, the main event, which was Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE title against Solo Sikoa. And while very few people doubted that Cody would retain, which he did, what everybody was waiting for and is what we got. We had the return of the OTC. Put it up there and acknowledge him. Roman Reigns. Great run-in, Superman punch, spear. And we also got some more Roman Reigns in the last couple episodes of SmackDown. I am really hyped for the match. I'm assuming they're not going to give that away to an international audience, so I don't think we'll see Roman and Solo at the Bash in Belfast. But I do think we'll see them at the next big one. They keep talking about Bad Blood in Atlanta, so I could see with that, especially the theme of the name of the pay-per-view or the PLE. Is really is not only seeing Solo and Roman Reigns, but I think we'll get CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's return match. And mark my words, I think we'll see a Hell in a Cell with those two.
That'd be awesome.
See a Hell in a Cell with those two.
That'd be awesome. And I think now's a good time to bring out some more people on Roman's side. I think we're going to get more.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, dude, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see Jimmy come back.
Yeah.
I think there could even be a Jay stepping in.
We've not seen Jay on Raw very much, and I think that's been on purpose.
Yep.
And what about this? Because and thankfully, because in the match, in the main event of Cody versus Solo, we saw the injury with Jacob Fatu hitting his splash onto the table on the Cody. There's been different debates on was it a legit enemy, was it a work, was it a shoot? A couple podcasts that I listen to are folks that are really Jim Ross and Jim Cornette, folks that have a lot of inside knowledge and are authorities on this. They said they both think it was a work. You look at how he landed. I don't think he really hurt himself, but he sold it beautifully. That or not, he was actually on SmackDown this past week, got physical with Roman Reigns. So even if he's injured, pardon me, even if he's injured and in the walking boot, he's able to do some work. And again, it gives even better reason to hold off for maybe a few more weeks. But I think we're eventually going to see at some point, we'll probably get a one-on-one match between Roman and Solo, but I think we will get Solo's bloodline, which would be Solo, the Tongas, and Jacob Fatu. So then who do you have on Roman's side? So I think you get Roman. I think you get the Usos. Who's number 4?
Seth Rollins.
You think Seth?
I think Seth Rollins is going to step in.
What about Sammy? Former member of the Bloodline. Still got his connection with Jay. Not doing anything now.
That's true. You know what? I like Sammy better. I like Sammy better.
Because
Yeah, I mean,
remember, he makes sure people are feeling a little oozy. So exciting times for the WWE, really exciting times. So we check those out on Mondays and Fridays. We give you our reviews. And with that, sir, you want to talk some video game adaptations?
let's do it. You want to go first for
I
the
will.
best of, and then I'll go first for the worst of.
All right. So these are based strictly on my own personal feelings. And so and I have 5 of what I consider the best and 5 I consider the worst. No honorable mentions this week. So starting with number 5, really, really good movie. Based, so it is a movie based on a video game, which also incorporates parts of a true story, which is Gran Turismo. Really good movie. Really good movie. Number 4, I got to go with Mortal Kombat from 1995. Just seeing Christopher Lambert as Raiden in my head, Connor McLeod, just give Connor McLeod all the lightning. Give him all the lightning. Give him all that smoke.
There could be only one.
There can be only one. I remember as a kid, because I've been fan cast, and true nerds, you fan cast way before you knew that podcasting was a thing. And I asked in my head fan casted that what happened was Connor had actually been the last one of the immortals, and what his benefit was, he ascended to God status. I'm like, okay, he really is the last one, so he becomes Raiden. And that makes sense. The lightning, there you go.
Dude, you just blew my mind. You just turned the Highlander into
Mortal Kombat.
Dude,
that's what I do.
You win this episode.
What I do.
You win this episode.
You know,
this is my headcanon. I love this so much because I'm a big Highlander fan.
And the way that I was able to do it, because from a young child, I have tested nerd positive. All right. With that, my top 3 are all television shows. So 4 and 5 were movies. Top 3 are television shows. And they're all recent ones. Maybe that's why they rate so high. But got to go Twisted Metal, Anthony Mackie. Such a great show. Such a great show. Love it. Excited for season 2. And then the top 2, I think, honestly, whether we're talking movies, television shows, anything, I think it's really straightforward. What, in my opinion, are the top 2 adaptations of video games. Yes, they're also 2 of the most recent, but the way the stories are told, the acting talent, the fact these are done on streaming services, so you can kind of amp up the language and the violence. They also captured, I think, the humanness of the video games. So number 2, got to give it a Fallout. And number 1, the reason why this week the S stands for Joel, The Last of Us. The Last of Us.
Nice. All right, man. Here's my. I got 10 good, 10 bad. And,
all right, let's hit it.
And really, it could be 5 honorable mentions and then a top 5, really. But we'll just do 10 down. First one I have to bring up for good ones is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, because. Not that it's a good movie. It is not a good movie.
Bad movie.
But the day I went to see that was the day I met my wife. So
fair. Very fair, sir.
And so that movie, I stayed late at my job. So I didn't have to drive out to where I lived at in Grimes and then drive back to go to a movie with my buddy. And just so we could see that movie. If I wouldn't have done that, I would not have met my wife. I would not be here. I mean, like, so the road less travel. So that is a road. That is a stop sign. That movie's a stop sign in my life.
Okay, that is fantastic. That makes all the sense in the world.
And another really bad one, but I watched it so many times. Street Fighter 1994.
Fair.
It's bad. It really is. Jean-Claude was all coked up. But, dude, we had Kylie Minogue as Kylie Minogue. Dude, like, let's...
It is also Raul Julia's last film. Got to give it to him. Yeah.
And the girl who played Chun-Li,
yeah.
Do you know who that is, right? She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's in Mandalorian.
Is that Ming-Na?
Yeah, that's Ming-Na.
Ah. By the way, Ming Na has only gotten better with age, man.
I mean, she really has. She's in the Paul
Yeah, I
Rudd
mean,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's always gonna be in my Joy Luck Club. All right, keep moving.
Well said. And then I did a plural here because it's already been rebooted. Tomb Raider 2018 and 2000 was 2001. Anyway, both the Tomb Raiders I'm putting together there.
Okay.
And then Mortal Kombat. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, I mean, enough said about Mortal Kombat. And if you've listened to this podcast throughout the last year, there's been a couple of shows that we have given high praise to.
High praise, yes.
Yes. One of them was Twisted Metal.
Yes, sir.
We loved Twisted Metal. That's at number 6.
Yes, Anthony Mackie, Nev Campbell. I mean, just the entire cast was just so good. So good. So good.
Yes. Top 5. Number 5, Resident Evil.
Fair.
Mila Jovovich.
Fair.
I love that movie.
Fair.
Now, the sequels got a little rough, but the original one was great. Number 5.
So who wins in the fan battle? Mila Jovovich in Resident Evil or Mila Jovovich as the Fifth Element?
Fifth Element.
Okay.
100%, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, 4, you're a lucky man, sir. Go for it.
Even at the end of your days. Yes, it is. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, number 4 is a movie that popped up. It was a million times better than it had any right to be.
All right.
Gran Turismo. This movie
I had such low expectations for that movie. And I don't know, it was good. I don't know if it was because we had such low expectations that made it that good. If we'd have had higher, maybe that, but truthfully, and shot really well. It really was. I mean, to be honest with you, I generally don't like race car movies.
Same.
You know, I think outside of Days of Thunder and Tongue in Cheek, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, there's probably 2 or 3, and 3 I will give it. Gran Turismo is up there as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it made our top 5 for best of.
I think it did as well. I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it did. Yep.
Number 3. I mean, dude, Fallout, man. They were good to the source material.
Yes.
It was just an amazing show. They did everything right.
Right. They didn't rush it, and they make us excited for season 2. Yeah. You're right. They took the source material. So first off, and it shouldn't shock anyone, the video games that we're saying are higher on the list, or the adaptations, that are higher on the list. You're hearing 2 things. Number 1, they stayed close to the source material, and the source materials are overall good games. Mm-hmm. So when you have a good, similar to when we talk about when they adapt the comic book, if you adapt something that has good source material, stick to the material. That's why it's there. Mm-hmm. The reason that movies like Watchmen and Sin City did so well is not that they were that Watchmen and Sin City were not the most widely read graphic novels in the world. However, the source material from both of those projects was great. And what the filmmakers did, they basically just said, we will make it into a motion picture, but we're going to honor the source material. A good story is a good story is a good story. So fantastic. Yeah. And you're right. Love some Fallout.
Number 2, Super Mario Brothers, the animated Super Mario Brothers movie.
Gotcha.
Man, I mean, it was great. It was exactly what a Super Mario Brothers movie should be. And number 1.
Gotta say it. Come on.
The Last of Us.
Gotta acknowledge it.
Yes. The Last of Us is the greatest video game adaptation ever. I mean, and to be honest, it's also probably one of the best stories in a video game.
Yes.
Period. Yes. Which is why it's such a good adaptation.
And the best thing you can say about The Last of Us is if people didn't know that it was an adaptation from a video game, they would have no idea. Yeah. This is a phenomenal show, and it's got great acting talent. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just a great. Same thing with Fallout. To be honest with you, now Twisted Metal definitely has some video game aspects to it with the cars and the fight and all that. But both with Fallout and The Last of Us, if you had no idea that these were adaptations from video games, I don't think anyone would even know, because they're both really good post-apocalyptic shows, and they actually show the various ways that humanity would react to it. Fallout, we fall back in the 1950s, and everybody's just, let's all hold hands, but no one wants to admit the world is really broken. Or you have The Last of Us, where we all fall prey to our worst demons, and the world is really, really, really broken. By the way, just because I made me think about that, I watched Furiosa last night on Max. So good.
I love that movie, man. Dude,
so good.
Like, I will. Do you have it in you to make it epic? Is one of my it's one of my favorite lines, right? Yes. I mean, it has been since I watched it the first time.
Yes.
I mean, I can just listen to that line over and over. I mean, in the context, but I mean, it's just a great thing to think about in your head.
So, Bradley, I'm going to share this with you. If we ever do something like parasailing or bungee jumping, which we both are not going to happen because I'm black, but if I ever do something that's really, really risky, I promise you what I'm going to say is, witness me! Absolutely.
Yes.
I kind of want to be a war boy for Halloween. We'll see if that happens or not.
Dude, I'm in, man. I think we can figure something out for Halloween.
I think the body paint will be a little more challenging for me.
Correct.
That's for you, but we'll see what we can do. All right. We both there for the hair. We both got the hairline for it. So.
Right. I think like we will figure something out. We'll figure something. Yeah.
All right, bro. All right, bro.
All right, we'll go right into the bad news.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so again, actually I have 11 because I can't count.
Both words and numbers are hard for your podcast.
That's right. That's right. So number 11, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It was pretty freaking bad. It was bad. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay, so the newest Mortal Kombat adaptation did make either one of them a list for one reason only, because the main character was a character that we have never seen before.
Right.
But Mortal Kombat Annihilation, they threw a lot at us, but for one, I mean, they lost Christopher Lee. They lost freaking Connor McLeod.
Yes. Yeah, which right there is you can make the argument for other sequels such as Independence Day. Like when the people who you built that, even if it's a one-off, the people that are the central, especially once you let some years pass and the movies start to get a cult following, if you can't bring back those actors and actresses for whatever reason, it's very hard to kind of go forward with the project. It really is. So now you're doing a thing to make money. You're doing to make money, and probably aren't going to make that much comparatively. So,
yep. No. So number 10 is a movie that I'm sure both of us have watched. I know I've watched it more than once. I'm gonna guess you have too, but it is an absolute horrible movie. Blood Rain. It's bad, but
really bad.
I watched it several times.
It's really, really, really,
really
bad. Really bad. Let's say about Blood Rain. I think I probably seen it probably 4 or 5. It all the way through probably 4 or 5 bits and pieces. Then I decided not to do it to myself anymore. Probably well over a dozen. Probably beginning to end, probably 4 or 5. Yeah, so a couple times because it was on. I'm like, all right, we'll do Blood Rain. Yep, gotcha. Yes, sir.
Was that Chris? It was Christina Loken, right?
Yep.
Like Christina Loken, she's most famous for Terminator 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right, number 9. You got to get a little bit of Mark Wahlberg in there because he's done some stuff. Max Payne. Max Payne. I loved the game. I loved the game on the PlayStation. It was fantastic. Didn't get into the movie. It was pretty freaking bad.
I had a really good date going to see Max Payne, so that made it a little not nowhere near your story, but I had a good time because of the company of it. But again, then I watched it later, and I was like, "This is ridiculous. This is really bad. This is really bad." So Mark was finding himself. Okay, he had lost the Funky Bunch, so he was trying to figure out who he was.
No more Good Vibrations.
Not at all, and he hadn't ruined the Transformers for a couple movies yet. So it's fair.
All right, number 8. One of our favorite fighting games. Didn't make that. After Street Fighter, we had some other in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
they tried to make more of them. They tried to make a Tekken movie, a futuristic Street Fighter, and it was bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Well, first off, Tekken is not as good as Street Fighter. So
no,
if the game is not as good, the movie's not going to be as good.
Right. I mean, is there a Virtual Fighter movie?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I was better at Virtual Fighter than I was at Tekken.
Sure.
Except for who was the guy that did the capo? Eddie in Tekken.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was awesome.
That was the only reason was the capoeira fight. That was the only reason. Yeah. That, and by the way, that was the player that that was the guy that's the only one I could win with, like consistently.
Same.
And that was like the fight with who's gonna get Eddie because and you want to always be Eddie facing the right side of the screen. If you're on the left side with Eddie, like his strikes and hit as much. Again, we're nerd positive, folks. But absolutely, I feel you there. So Tekken was, Yep.
Then moving up to
it's like saying, you know what I really like better than Transformers? GoBots.
Said nobody ever.
Other than they did have a cool. Other than Psykill is kind of a cool name. Psykill is kind of a cool name.
It is. I think GoBots maybe need to be rebooted. Now, didn't they phase GoBots into the world of Transformers?
They did.
Okay.
They did. Yep.
All right. Number 7, Monster Hunter. Yes.
Yep.
Mila Jovovich made the best of and the worst of as well. You know.
Well, that's gonna happen because no shade to Mila at all, but those movies are really her genre, her niche. She definitely got pigeonholed in those type of movies. I mean, and the reality of it is, being pigeonholed into that type of movie can work out for you or against you. Chris Evans, he got pigeonholed because before the MCU became the MCU, he was in the first 2 Fantastic Four movies. He was in Push. I mean, he was.
That was a good movie. Push was fantastic.
It was good, but he really got known as just a guy that did comic book movies. When being in a comic book movie wasn't taken as, oh, you're gonna be in the #1 movie in the world. It was a thing that kind of happened. Yeah. So Mila very much between again the Resident Evils and I'm gonna say Sixth Sense, Fifth Element, all these movies, there was definitely a theme of the type of characters that she played. And again, good for her because, hey, I'm sure she could loan us both quite a bit of money. But you're right. So sometimes you get some stinkers out there.
Yeah. 6, I put Doom. I mean, Doom was not. I mean, we had Carl Urban in it, but and we had The Rock in it too.
Yeah. And again, both of these men, this was the earlier part of both of their careers, and they just didn't get it, and they just hadn't quite caught it. It was also, I went and saw it. Did you see the 3D did you see it in the theater?
I did see it in 3D.
And did you see the 3D? Okay, I
did.
That helped, but it took them too long to get there. So
yeah, there's only one good scene. It's the first person shooter scene.
Yep.
Was awesome, and it was like 10 seconds long,
right,
or something like that. I'm like, where was this the entire freaking?
And given
movie?
how tech was back then, that 10-minute scene, not even that long of a scene, it probably cost $50 million to do that. Yeah. Absolutely, yep.
Next up, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. When they tried to bring it back, and it was not good.
Bad. Just bad. All right.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna go back to The Rock. Can you think of another comic book or another video game adaptation that The Rock was in about monsters who destroy buildings?
Rampage.
That wasn't good. It wasn't good.
It made Mighty Joe Young look Oscar worthy. Like that's how bad Rampage was.
Yeah, I mean, man, like we got King Kong. like we don't need.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone, man.
Basically, if it doesn't star Kong or Donkey Kong, we don't need any big gorilla movies. We just
Right,
don't.
right, exactly. Number 3. Here's where I want to talk about it.
Is there?
Borderlands.
All right, man. Break it
Okay,
down for me.
here it is, man. A movie that you have Jack Black and Kevin Hart in, and you can't make me laugh. I maybe chuckled one time the entire movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the game, it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, funny, dismemberment, hard R. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the elements that make the story good, right? You
Absolutely.
got none of that in it. Zero. I mean, you could just tell. And here's I'm not even going to blame Eli Roth, because Eli Roth was the director of this.
Right.
And Eli Roth knows how to do those type of movies. So this is not on Eli Roth. Eli Roth got I think he got his shit cut off from the studios, one after another. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just assuming, because one, Eli Roth knows how to do the bloody, the gory, the all that very, very well.
Sure.
In almost every movie that he does. That's Eli Roth. That's his statement. And
that is what he does. Yep.
They did not let him do what he does for the movie. And had they let him make this an R-rated movie, it would have been a lot better.
Well, based on the content, that's where you would start.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you doing any, and having, again, back to the source material, you have to do that. You have to just pull that. And again, when you have, with Jack Black and Kevin Hart, who've also done 2 movies together, so there's some pre-existing chemistry there. If they can't carry that over to Borderlands, and you're right, say Eli Roth knows what he's doing. That is a studio not getting behind it, not understanding what it is. And also, similar to what we talked about some other movies, I don't get why this movie comes out in the summer. In a summer where you've got Deadpool and Wolverine.
2 weeks after Deadpool.
Yeah, there's times to slot movies that they'll be successful. There's been a couple of movies I would think that either they should hold off till more around the holidays, like Beetlejuice, or that they should pull out in that time that is February to really, really early May, where we're past the holiday. The 2 biggest times that you see blockbuster movies is the holiday season and Christmas. And then you have about a 8 to 10 week period of time that is February through early part of April, maybe into a little bit into May, so a little longer than that. That is really where you see rom-coms being number one, because you've got Valentine's Day, and you see a lot of kids movies, but aren't like the blockbuster kid movies. Not talking about Disney or Pixar movies that get really popular. That's also, we get a lot of niche films that can make a lot of money, get a lot of this artsy, even goes along with the Oscars and stuff. This would have been, not that Borderlands is going to be an artsy movie, but in that kind of downtime, that's where you should have released something like Borderlands, because it would have made more money, it would have gotten more views, would not have the competition that it had, just again with a hugely backed production and just flat out better movie.
Yeah.
It's one thing if a movie just has a bigger budget, bigger marketing behind it. Also, when that same movie is also just better than you are, it's a lose-lose. So
yeah. And Borderlands the entire time was reminding me of my number 2 choice, Double Dragon. Double Dragon. That is what Borderlands reminded me of, was Double Dragon. Okay, there is a story with Double Dragon.
There's a great story of Double Dragon. I
tell that story.
I love the game, but this was back when it was 8-bit, and like you couldn't even run, but you could hop really fast. That was running. Love Double Dragon. This was the first movie that I remember being disappointed in. I was really excited for Double Dragon, and I was like, what? What? Yeah. That was my first lesson of the reality of hoping for something to be really good, and that's the first time. That was the first time I remember that sometimes trailers only show us the best parts of the movie. Like what they
Right.
showed you is all you're gonna get, man. So you better
Yep.
love it. You better love it. All right, sir. What's your number one?
Super Mario 1993. No, I mean, it was a movie that probably should not have been made. It was a movie that they were making. They were writing the movie as they were filming the movie. Bob Hoskins,
Yeah.
John Leguizamo, man.
Yeah. First off, the casting. Well, I mean, this was Hoskins on the heels of Roger Rabbit.
Mhm.
This was before John Leguizamo became John Leguizamo, and he's a fantastic actor. It just wasn't. Yeah. And to show you how similar we are, bro. Why that's your number one? I did a top 5 of worst. That is my number 5 for worst movies.
Nice.
My number 4 is Street Fighter 94.
Nice.
Number 3 is Doom.
Nice.
Number 2, I'm gonna actually say the Resident Evil television series. We both watched it, and it wasn't that it was some of these movies are actually worse, but one of the things that can happen with a television series is if after the first episode you know every single thing that's going to happen, and not in a hey, of course this makes sense logically. You are so formulaic, you are so full of cliches. When Lance Reddick can't save a show, that's an RIP to you, bro.
Right.
That is, yeah. That might have been might have been the death nail in did you like that in this one? And then my number one for all the reasons you heard me say a minute ago, Double Dragon.
Man. Dude, great list. No, even some of these bad movies, I kind of want to revisit.
Yeah, there's some I would watch again. Like I actually would watch Doom again. I mean, it's a popcorn movie. If it's on television, if it's streaming, I'll watch Doom again. It didn't break my heart. Now, Mario Brothers 93 and Street Fighter 94, you're gonna have to convince me.
I'll watch Street Fighter 94 again.
Okay. I think for me it's because it's Raul Julia's last movie. I probably would as well because again, RIP to Raul. But absolutely.
Do you think that any of those could be fixed? Like, I mean, because there's a lot of these have good, decent stories. They just went about it the wrong. I mean, there is a good. You could tell a really good Street Fighter.
Street Fighter number 4. I mean, Street Fighter 94 can be told really good if number one you get a really excellent actor to play M. Bison. You play up to Dictatorship.
Yeah.
M. Bison is Capcom's Dr. Doom. I mean, there's so many similarities there. If you had a really strong actor, and because we cast him also everything.
Giancarlo Esposito?
I was thinking Pedro Pascal, but Giancarlo as well. But you get a really strong actor to play M. Bison. You don't. Again, no shade to Jean-Claude, but if you don't base it, and by the way, the 90s were Jean-Claude and Steven Van Damme, Steven Seagal.
Did you just marry them?
I did because I think.
I mean, you already won this episode.
I think they only have enough acting talent for one person, so we're not supposed to combine them. But Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme, that was really their real. I mean, their 15 minutes probably more like 4 years of when their movies they were quick. A lot of them went straight to video. All these things, but if you really want to put some time in scripting and production value, Street Fighter I think could definitely do it. We've seen Super Mario Brothers in the animated world work really good. I think Doom has potential as well. Double Dragon, because Double Dragon lean on so many tropes with Asian culture, you'd have to really make really good casting decisions to not make it more appropriation. But I totally could see Mario Brothers. Again, if you want to try to make a live action one, better. But of the ones that are on both of our lists, I think Street Fighter is going to be the easiest one to do there. Absolutely one to do there.
Yes, indeed. Now, so I just looked up Van Damme's daughter. So I have to admit, guilty pleasure, I love me some Van. I have been a Van Damme fan since Bloodsport.
Okay, Bloodsport. Dude,
Bloodsport,
Bloodsport's
Kickboxer,
a great
Double
damn
Impact,
movie.
man,
Yes.
Universal Soldier.
Yes.
I am a big Van Damme fan. Dude, yeah, but have you seen his daughter?
No.
Bianca
That's
Van Damme?
what I'm about
Oh,
to.
dude, check her out. Like, she's been in a bunch of stuff. She was even in Alien Uprising.
Really?
Welcome to the Jungle. Yep. Assassination. Let's hear what else I'm looking at. Fury of the Fist. I mean, like, um, yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff, and man, there was a Van Damme movie that I watched on Hulu, and I can't remember the name of it now. So I'm gonna have to look up, but it was so freaking amazing. It was so good, and God, what was it?
Really? Go Bianca.
Yeah, yeah. She's
And she's just like her dad's, I mean, she's in shape, she can fight. She's a beautiful woman. But also just by the fact that, you can see, her dad. By the way, similarly, did you look up Ida Lundgren, Dolph's daughter? IDA
no.
Lundgren.
I
There are
will though.
photos. Ida and Bianca have done multiple like photo shoots together, and yeah, the Universal Soldier, the Next Generation. So yes,
I mean, I'm for this. I'm 100% for this. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole very, very soon.
yes,
And I can't think of the movie. I'll get back to you with that one. But
no
anyway,
worries, no worries.
dude, you know what? I think it's time. Let's do your honest ad.
All right, my friend. Here's my honest ad, and it is for the Olympics. Hickory dickory dock. The games are played around the clock. From Paris, France, you had a chance to raise your Olympic stock. From judo fights to boxing, and yes, some track and field. Over the last few weeks, we've seen just how many medals this competition yields. LeBron and Simone have won the gold. We even brought home some bronze and silver. But nothing will make us forget how much that Australian breakdancer made us shiver. The games have now ended. The athletes can finally sleep. We can only hope in 4 more years we still have Snoop, D-O-double-G.
Yes, yes to all of that. Oh, and the movie is We Die Young.
We Die Young. All right, I'm going to check that
We
out.
Die
We Die Young.
It's 2019, and it is is it streaming anywhere? It's on Freebie. It's on Freebie.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh.
By the way, a quick plug for Freebie as well. I just found this that on Freebie actually, because they must have some relationship with Prime. Freebie actually, as part of their act, they have a schedule of shows you can jump in on. They actually have old school cartoons on Freebie that they play back to back, like the GoBots, like
What?
like the original, like the old school Rainbow Bright cartoon. They had Silverhawks, which is how they got me. So, and they'll just run. They have so many old school 80s things, cartoon and sitcoms that they show on Freebie. So, got to give a quick plug out to Freebie. I don't think you got to watch it with ads, but guess what? We used to call those commercials.
Yeah.
And they were
I will
kind
be
of part,
some of those.
and they were part and parcel watching shows back then. In fact, that's how many of us learned bladder control. Like I learned that I could do this in the time of a commercial. I could get up, start popcorn, run to the restroom, relieve myself, go back, get the popcorn out of the microwave, and be back before the commercial was over.
Yes, that is time management. All right. Are you ready, my friend, for my constellation?
Let's do it, bro.
All right. So before I say who,
Mm-hmm.
I did it in 3 stars.
Okay.
We've been talking about JCVD, and there's been a reason why. I want you to connect Jean-Claude Van Damme to Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds.
The acid to Ryan Reynolds.
Connect Jean-Claude Van Damme to Ryan Reynolds. I did it in 3.
Okay. All right. So So I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a while since I watched some Van Damme, some Van Damage. I could probably do easier with Rob Van Dam, but let me see what we can do here. The muscles from Brussels. Let's see what we can do here. All right. Do 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 do. Okay.
Did you know Van Damme, while you're thinking, is the
Yeah.
voice of Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat game?
Seriously?
Yeah. I'm looking at
Okay.
his IMDb right now.
That's awesome.
That is a full circle thing for Mortal Kombat.
That is awesome. Okay, let me think here. I think I might have at least a starting point.
All right. So you're starting with Ryan Reynolds and working your way down to John Claude.
I'm actually going John Claude or Ryan Reynolds with my head with because I know more Ryan Reynolds movies than John Claude. So I'm thinking about how can we do this? Okay.
I can see
I
the
got it.
wheels turn. You got it?
I think I may got it.
And how many?
Okay. So I got now you got to tell me if this is cheating.
Okay.
So it's a upcoming movie. Can I do with upcoming? Do I need to do things that are already out?
They're making it. I'm gonna allow it.
Okay. So Ryan Reynolds and Jackie Chan are in a new Dragon Ball Z product that's being made. Jackie Chan and Jean-Claude Van Damme are voice actors in Kung Fu Panda 2. So I can go Ryan Reynolds to Jackie Chan to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
All right, so you beat me. That's two. That's 2 stars there.
How did you do it?
Here's how I did it. I started with Ryan Reynolds and worked my way down to Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I did it through Wesley Snipes. Ryan Reynolds was in Deadpool and Wolverine and in Blade 3 with Wesley Snipes.
Right.
Wesley Snipes was in Expendables 3 with Sylvester Stallone.
You know what? I don't know if I've ever seen Expendables 3. That's probably that's brilliant. Great job.
And Sly was with Jean-Claude Van Damme was the villain.
Yep.
Expendables 2.
Yes. Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
You did it. I didn't even think about the voice stuff.
But
I
will give it to you because yours are after products out there, and that is actually you let me fudge the rules a little bit. So I think that's still a victory for you, man. But well played. That was a well played constellation. Are you ready to see if you can figure out a movie that has the same plot but with new characters?
I am ready for it.
All right. I am proud of this one. I will say this. This is a film that you and I have both seen over and over and over again. So I think you'll probably get it, but I'm proud of just the connection that I made in it. So you very well may get it easily. I'm just proud of what I wrote. So here we go. Ready?
Yep.
After escaping his dream, for the audience before I go back to it. So here's the premise of this is that we take a well-known movie that Brad and I have both seen, and then I use, again, the plot will be the same. However, I will reference items and characters from other movies and projects they've done, but it's played by the same actor. So here we go. So our same plot, new characters. After escaping his dream, within a dream, Eddie Brock decides to create a new nightmare for the American Psycho by teaming with Ella Enchanted. The plot thickens as Sirius Black is threatened by stranger things, and thanks to Looper, his odds are better than 50-50. Talos unknowingly supports the secret invasion orchestrated by the daughter of Qui-Gon Jinn. But thanks to a supporting cast that includes Robin Hood's best friend and Miss Congeniality's pageant coach, the day is saved by the God Butcher.
Yes, The Dark Knight Rises. Very well done, man. That was super good.
I watched it last night, and I was watching it. I was like, wait, that's Ben Mendelsohn. That's Talos. That so right then I know what my same plot new character is going to be for the audience. Again, it's Dark Knight Rises, which is escaping a dream within a dream. That's a reference
Inception.
to Inception. So Christopher Nolan is known for using many of the same actors throughout his movies. So we see Eddie Brock, who is played by, I just blanked on the actor's name.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, who
Have you watched
also.
By the way, have you watched Bike Riders yet?
No, is it good? Is it worth it?
It's phenomenal. It's a great,
okay.
Great movie.
That'll be after we close it tonight. So you've got Tom Hardy who plays Bane, and A Nightmare for the American Psycho. By the way, his portrayal in American Psycho, that's what led to getting Christian Bale into the role as Batman / Bruce Wayne. Ellen Chan, obviously played by Anne Hathaway, who plays Selena Kyle. Again, fun fact: neither Anne Hathaway or Zoe Kravitz, while they play Selena Kyle, neither one of those movies is the character called Catwoman.
Yeah, that's
only
true.
called Selena Kyle. The plot thing is Sirius Black, played by Gary Oldman, who also plays Commissioner Gordon, is threatened by Stranger Things in reference to Matthew Modine, and thanks to Looper. And his odds are better than 50-50. Talos, Ben Mendelsohn, who also plays in the movie, orchestrates a secret invasion by Qui-Gon Jinn's daughter. So Talia al Ghul, her father, Ra's al Ghul, is again played by boy Liam Neeson. And thanks to the supporting cast, Robin Hood's best friend, who is played by Morgan Freeman, who plays Lucius Fox, and Miss Congeniality's pageant coach, played by I'm horrible with names tonight. Michael Caine, who plays Alfred, and another role that he did his best in, but the movie, I actually didn't mind the movie, but it did not give him space to be the villain I think he wanted to be. Playing Christian Bale, also plays the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. So fantastic job, my friend. All right, sir.
Man, all right.
Who is your Better Nuts Human of the Week this week?
You know what? I'm gonna have to give it to my wife. I'm gonna give it to my wife because she has been working the fair every day for the last 10 days.
Fair.
The fair is over. Yeah, literally. And so she's always better than me, and she lets me be a nerd. So there it is.
Hey. Fair. I'm gonna give it again. You heard me mention it in my honest ad for the Olympics. He just made the Olympics so much fun this year. I got to give it to Snoop Double G. So Snoop Dogg, fantastic job emceeing the events. He gave a ton of interviews. As much as he brought some silliness and some levity, it was always done with a great deal of respect. He loves the Olympic Games. If you got to hear any of his commentary, he actually knows the inside and of judo really well and did a great job commentating some of the judo events, and hearing from the athletes just how much better he made just the having a person from home that so many of these individuals grew up listening to his music. I think, and all the memes going, Mom, when you're talking about how much you love Snoop at the Olympics, remember you grounded me for listening to his music, all those things. It was great. So the Olympics have done a great job the past two games with bringing in people like Kevin Hart and Snoop, and just getting commentators, just trying to really bring the fun to the games. And I think that is done. That's what made the Olympics so much better. And again, very proud of our athletes. 146 medals the U.S. had during this games, which was tops of any country. So congrats to our men and women and all that you do and represent us for the world. So, sir, that is why Snoop. And just come on, got to call it out there. They redid the Olympic torch. Yeah, we saw what you were doing there, Olympics. We saw what you were doing there. All right, my friend. How do we close up?
All right, man. Well, you can actually, where can we find you first?
Well, you can find me on the Book of Faces at Brian Stephen Dennis. Give me a like, give me a follow, give me a friend request, and as always, try and keep it light and occasionally weird.
All right. So you can friend me, and follow me at Facebook at Nerd Positive, TikTok at Nerd Positive 1, and you can my B&B TikTok is movies.bs.
I love the new content that's office themed. I love that. I love that
Dude,
so much, man.
I had so much fun. We got I have 14 more episodes planned for that. What he's talking about is if you check out that TikTok, me and my assistant, she's my shift leader for marketing. She's
Sure.
pretty much my marketing assistant, Summer. She is also fantastic, awesome, so full of great ideas. She's my perfect fit. She's my work daughter. Man, we have a blast. So we decided instead of using my own TikTok, we wanted to make one for us, for just the B&B, and that's what we did. So we put a couple videos out there. We did one for Uno. I think it's got over 2,000 views right now.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and then that one I think is reaching up to about 1,000 views right now. Or we did an Office parody. We're going to keep on doing the Office parody. I want to try keeping all of our movie reviews and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep that Office theme, because who doesn't love the Office, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, also Instagram at the Fandemic1. And if you feel there's more of a conversation, reach out to us. Let's talk. Let's bring you on for an episode and nerd out. So, Brian.
Yes, sir.
All right. If you want to support the show, there are several ways to do so. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/nerdpositive, patreon.com/nerdpositive, become an episode assistant, episode producer, or pre-veg producer like Stacy, or be part of the con, the Council of Nerds, starting at $5 a month. Go to PayPal or Venmo at Bradley B. Tatum. Most importantly, share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. Thank you for leveling up my awesome. This is the best part of my week. We have hit the max level awesome for the week. Brian, how do we end every episode?
Well, thank you again for being Nerd Positive with us and testing Nerd Positive each and every week. Podcast partner, it is always fun to get in here and chop it up with you. Thanks for being good little boys and girls and following along with us. So please remember that no retreat, no surrender, and Goonies, never say die.
Friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. Squirrels' cheeks are their nutsacks. And one last question for you. Are you nerd positive? Have a good day.
Bye-bye.